Welcome back to Houston Life. After last week's freezing temperatures, you might be staring at your yard actually and your plants and just thinking, is this plant mad at me? Is it dead? Will it ever come back?
Yeah, that's me crying every morning in my front yard. Hey, before you start pruning though, hold the phone. Skip Richter, host of Gardenline on 740 KTRH, is here with the do's and don'ts after a freeze, what to cut, what to protect, how to help your landscape bounce back. I know that people, when they see like dead shrubs or trees too, their immediate response is like, I just have to cut them all off. That's not necessarily the game plan here, right?
No, I guess the message in a nutshell is learn to live with ugly. If you can let that plant just be what it is until it starts to grow, the plant will tell you where to prune. You just prune above the new growth that comes out.
Oh, so the dead portions will reveal themselves once the growing season begins.
Right, that's the easiest way. It's what I would do. But if people can't stand to look at ugly, we got some options for that.
Okay, we'll get into those options. What have people been saying about the freeze? Because we have some pictures of people, saying, okay, this is what we're working with after that weather.
Right. Yeah, that plant is a lot like this one here. Basically, perennials get killed to the ground in winter and come back out of the ground again. So that cycle, even though it's not a bad winter, it's kind of typical for our winters here. And in doing that, we need to, we have two options. So I don't know if you want me to get into this plant.
Let's go for it, Skip. Yeah. And this, so a lot of people might have these maybe in the ground or in a container. This looks dead on top, but it's alive under the surface?
Alive underneath, yes.
Okay.
And so this is Mexican heather. Many plants have the same kind of look right now. You can do two things. You can leave it, because believe it or not, all this dead growth actually helps protect the base a little bit. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it helps a little.
Oh.
The alternative to that would be just to prune it back. And you don't have to be fancy in this. Just get in here and cut it all off. I cut it off just a few inches above the ground.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
Am I going to have to clean this mess up?
Nah, we have someone for that. Me.
Okay, I mean, when you said prune, I thought you were going to give it a nice little trim. No. You hacked this all the way down, but I noticed you left what, 1.5 inches or 2 inches?
About an inch. And being a perennial, it's going to come back from down low like that.
And I can see from the green inside that this plant is totally alive.
Yeah.
And also, so we're seeing the new growth that happens down at the base. Yes. Obviously, it's just early February. The potential for another freeze is still out there. Cutting off the plant, does that make it easier to protect the next time around for a freeze?
It does, and you can give additional protection if you cut this kind of perennial off. You saw that picture that new growth was coming out, and the old dead was still there. I've cut it all off, so if you throw a big mound of mulch, not for all winter, but whenever a cold spell is coming, it'll protect this better than the dead top did.
And better than fabric?
Well, yes, and because the soil's warmth is what protects the plant.
Okay.
And so, and then you just pull it back, and the plant says, thanks for the compost or mulch, and it takes off in spring.
Tessa, the mulch is like a heating blanket.
That is...
Who knew?
So, okay, he knew, and he knows because he's the person that people go to when they're stressed out about their plants. I mean, can you tell people a little bit about your background? Because you really have an extensive education in agriculture and all things plant.
Right. For my training, I went to Texas A&M, got a degree in horticulture, and then I've worked in Missouri, but mostly in Texas here, in a number of different counties around the state, educating people, training master gardeners, things like that.
Wow.
And Gardenline, the radio show, is a weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, right, where callers call you and say, hey, Skip, this is what's happening with my trees or my grass or my shrubs. So you've kind of seen it all or heard it all.
Well, it's fun when the phone rings, you don't know who's going to say what, so that makes it exciting. But yeah, 6 to 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday morning.
Okay, well, tune in, and if you're watching now, you've got some quick tests that people can do, like the scratch test. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so I'll use this plant. This happens to be Turk's cap. If you go down a plant and you scratch it back with your fingernail, see the brown on it there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely dead. And I come back here and scratch it back, and I've got that nice green color.
Wow.
And so that means you can cut it off somewhere in here.
Wow. So you would cut that again all the way down?
Yes. And on larger plants like woody shrubs and trees, which this is not, but it makes a good example.
What is that?
I'm going to show you. This is a brugmansia called an angel's trumpet. It has beautiful flowers that hang down. If you look at the color of the brown, it's kind of a muddy brown, a dirty brown.
Okay.
But when I get way down here, see how fresh that green is?
Wow.
I said a dirty brown, dirty green. So this is dead, but that's alive. And so that's the coloring you're looking for. Now, most people aren't going to carve their plant up like that, so they just make a little nick, but I'm trying to show it here.
But that green means it will grow. There is hope for that plant.
There
But
is
when
hope.
it's brown or that dirty green,
Right.
you can just get rid of that?
Right, and the reason this one survived, this is a very cold tender plant, is I mounded a lot of mulch and soil around it. So that protected the base a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been dead to the ground.
Wow, and Skip, this is so interesting because if I were to check this out, I mean, because this area is green, deceptively, someone might scrape that and assume this was still alive, but they would be wrong.
Which brings us to another tip, and that is don't go out the day after a freeze and do this assessment. It takes a number of days of warm temperatures for this decay to progress and for the brown-green game to be on.
Okay.
What is one of the most common errors you see or you hear about Houstonians making directly after a freeze? I'm guessing it might be to chop everything out immediately?
Yes, cutting it back, because we can have periods of time where it's in the mid to upper 70s in the winter, and when you prune a plant, it's an invigorating process. And so if we have that warm spell, here comes new growth, and then the next freeze hits, and that plant's in worse shape than if you had left it alone.
Skip, what are some of the signs of freeze damage that we should be looking for?
Mainly just the browning and the lack of color in the bark.
Okay. Okay.
And plants, when they're in distress, they usually will tell you, right? I mean, not verbally, of course.
Yes.
That would be a lovely world if plants could talk to us, right?
Right.
What are we seeing on the screen right here?
Well, that's just an example of a severe freeze. After a period of time, if you do nothing and there is damage, you're going to see splitting of the bark. Now, that's an extreme example.
Right.
But anytime you see splitting, that's an indication of cold damage. And then there's one more really interesting thing. I get calls sometime and it says my bark near the base of my tree is splitting. And I say, is it on the southwest side? And there's a silence like, well, how did you know that? Well, it's because at the end of the day, about 2 to 4 o'clock, the sun is shining low in the winter sky and it's warming up this bark, but the rest of the tree stays dormant, but this starts to come out of dormancy. Then that night's freeze kills it here, but not the other side. So that's on the southwest side. So if you have a brand new, let's say you put it in an oak tree or something with thin bark still, go ahead and wrap those in the wintertime till we get through that. And after they get some bark on them, you don't have to keep wrapping them.
That is such good advice. That is such good advice. Okay, we're a little tight on time. Is there anything else we should know about plant home care that you can tell us really quick, or people just have to call you and listen in?
Well, yeah, call me and listen in. That'd be great. But in general, don't overwater your plants. We tend to overwater house plants and outdoor plants too much. Plant things that want to grow here. It's fun to experiment, but if a plant is hardy in Houston, that's the kind of plant you want. It makes you look good.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to say find your plants in the cemetery, because if dead people can grow it, you can too. So.
Oh, dear.
That's great advice.
I will never forget that.
Yes, that is good advice.
Skip Richter, the host of Gardenline, that was really interesting. And next time I'm going to take notes. He is a wealth of knowledge. You can also find Skip this weekend at the Houston Home and Garden Show at NRG Park. He's going to be there Friday at noon, Saturday at 11 a.m. And yes, bring your dead leaves, your cuttings, your weeds. He's going to tell you what they are and how to handle it. Your suggested remedies are invaluable.
That's right.
So catch him at the show, but you can also catch his radio show, as we mentioned, Gardenline, on 740 KTRH every Saturday and Sunday mornings, okay? Give him a call. He'll happy to help you along there.
Also, like when to plant trees, the right time of year. You got to come back. You got to do another segment with us. Come back anytime.